Hey, what's up there, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today's topic, I'm going to discuss Ron DeSantis, or AKA known as Ron DeScumbag. I'm going to go into some very interesting articles and also a couple video clips to share and educate you on Mr. Ron. Now, why this is important, not just because I'm currently in Ariano living in Florida, but also because I just want to point out once again of how people are so easily fooled and duped without even knowing the full story, researching who this man is, knowing his background, and just again giving their power away into a savior that's going to come and save us from Biden or the system. And even when I first came back down here after the lockdowns, we were like, oh, great. DeSantis says we don't have to wear masks and we have freedom and mobility. And a lot of my family moved down from New York and different friends moved to Florida, and all these people were coming to Florida. Then I started getting some red flags popping up. So not so long ago, I started researching. Is like, who is this guy? What's his background? Let's find out about him. And I just want to share with you a video that I just found very recently. And I have my glasses on here so I could see a little clearer. And this video was put out by no other than Mr. Soros, and we all know who Mr. Soros is. And I would say that this ex-Nazi here, Mr. George Soros, anything or anyone he endorses or supports, we should all know it's a red flag as well. So I want you to hear in his own words what Mr. Soros says about Ron DeScumbag. Please listen.
My hope for 2024 is that Trump and Governor DeSantis of Florida will slug it out for the Republican nomination. Trump has turned into a pitiful figure, continually bemoaning his loss in 2020. Big Republican donors are abandoning him in droves. DeSantis is shrewd, ruthless, and ambitious. He is likely to be a Republican candidate.
Now, he says there he's shrewd, ruthless. And when I saw this video, I'm like, he's shrewd and ruthless. What is he talking about? Like, DeSantis even seemed to me at one point, I'm like, yeah, he seems cool. We don't wear masks. He's not for the transgender garbage that's going on. This guy's pretty cool. But when you dive into it, once again, because as empaths here, right, we have hope. We're like, oh, maybe someone is going to step in and actually help us. And maybe DeSantis is not so bad. But once again, I learned, and I'm here to show you today. For one, look at that video. Soros says he's a ruthless leader, right? So I'm like, okay, well, who is he? Well, digging into it some more, I found out that DeSantis was a JAG officer in the U.S. Army, in the Navy. And he was sent to Iraq. He also served in Afghanistan. And he was actually overseeing the re-stealing of antiquities, which is all the ancient artifacts. And as many of you know, in Iraq is one of the oldest stargates that Saddam Hussein had fortified there to keep people out. We went into Iraq for a lot of reasons, one of them being to steal and get control of the antiquities there, the ancient artifacts, the Stargate. He actually oversaw that in, I have my notes here, in Fallujah, Ramadi, and the Al-Anbar province. He also oversaw and was legal advisor to SEAL teams and Green Berets. So he knows the dirt and the stuff of the Army. He later went on to serve at Gitmo at Guantanamo Bay. He oversaw the terrorist prisoners there. Now, I'm going to show you another website that I found that shows Mr. DeSantis in his military gear here. And you can see him pictured here in his military gear and his Navy uniform. And there has even been some terrorists that have been released that were held for 15, 16 years that wrote books about Mr. DeSantis and who was he at Gitmo at Guantanamo Bay. He was reported by numerous people to go into the prisoners, the terrorists, and say, hey, I'm here as legal aid. I'm here to make sure you guys have freedom and blah, 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 blah. But yet, for years, he witnessed, saw, and what most of them all said was laughed at them being tortured, at them being force-fed, beaten, sprayed. Mr. DeSantis was known amongst terrorists as the pretty boy jock that used to jog around the base, and they all knew him. And when they saw him run for governor and actually win, they all recognized him, and some of them even have books out. Here's another page I found of another terrorist guy who wrote a book on Mr. DeSantis. And of course, you're like, oh, he's a terrorist. You can't believe them. They're all lying. Well, again, use discernment. I'm just presenting some information here. If you think this is hogwash or whatever, then just turn the video off. You don't have to continue watching. If you do want to learn and educate yourself, then maybe listen and you might find something that resonates, because I'm going to continue this. So here's one of the prisoners at Gitmo. Now, this has also all been admitted by the U.S. Navy in terms of he was stationed at Gitmo. You can find some public records. You can find out his different ranks. There's some more pictures of him here. And then it goes a little bit even deeper. Then you're like, okay, well, let's go a little bit deeper, because we know that if you're a president or a governor, you're tied in to the Illuminati. You're tied into these secret societies like the Bushes and the Clintons, and we just talked about Trump as a Jesuit. So who is Mr. DeSantis? Well, I stumbled upon this picture, which I'm going to share right now. And this was actually on Wikipedia. It has been scrubbed. It is not there anymore, but I found this on the Pete Santilli show, and they went back in the Wayback Machine online, and you actually can see where he is listed as part of the St. Elmo Society, which is a higher ranking society than even the Skull and Bones. So there you can see it says DeSantis, current governor of Florida. This is on their membership on Wikipedia. I mean, again, this stuff is out in the open if you just do your research. So here he is listed as a St. Elmo Society member. If you don't know what that is, just search it, educate yourself. It is a Knight of Malta, okay? A highly, most highest ranking secret society out there, okay? So now I'm just going to play another little clip for you of the Pete Santilli show, because I really love what he said and what he had to say about DeSantis. So just take a little listen to this, and I'm going to play this clip for you right here.
Seymour Hersh. Seymour Hersh unleashed. Everybody now is starting to realize who Seymour Hersh is, right? Our listening audience may not have heard of Seymour Hersh exposing through his sources one of the top investigative journalists in the entire world. And guess what he published in 2011? While DeSantis is running around overseas, hanging out with who? What Seymour Hersh described as the select few military members under the Order of Malta, okay? Go down to the red section, the bottom paragraph of the red section right there. Hersh was referring to the Sovereign Order of Malta, a Roman Catholic organization committed to defense of the faith and assistance to the poor and the suffering, according to its website. Many of the members of the military that have taken over the United States, as Seymour Hersh described, all right? With DeSantis being part of that group, he was literally the attorney for the Order of Malta, Knights of Malta people that Seymour Hersh identified in Afghanistan under, you had, Petraeus, you had a whole bunch of those generals over there. And Seymour Hersh outed them as a small group of military people. He alleged Stanley McChrystal, who handled JSOC, right? Before briefly becoming top U.S. commander in Afghanistan. And his successor, Vice Admiral William McCraven, as well as many within JSOC, are all members or at least supporters of the Knights of Malta. That's Seymour Hersh. That said that our government was overthrown by a small cabal within our military that was run by the Order of Malta. And guess who's part of that? Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis. The Order of Malta. Him working for the admiral that committed treason and swore an oath to the British monarchy. Working under the former CIA director at Kodak. Go look it up, okay? Yourself. If I hear one freaking person, I'm giving our mods the order right now. Anybody that jumps on this show and starts pushing for the Order of Malta, okay? And saying that DeSantis is this, DeSantis. You start bashing Trump, pushing DeSantis. I want you to nuke them immediately. Get them up.
All right. So what he's talking about when he mentioned the company, ex-CIA director had this company called Qubit something LLC that Ron DeSantis worked under him in that company. That company handled business transactions for the Queen, for the Bank of England. Now here it goes even deeper, and there's a lot to go over. I just want to do a short video and just point out several things just to know right off the bat. Ron the scumbag is no good. His sister, Ron DeSantis, Christina DeSantis, and you can look at her LinkedIn page, worked for KPMG. Who is KPMG? Well, she ran the auditing for the Bank of Coutts Bank. Who's Coutts Bank? It is the Bank of England under the Queen directly. She ran the audits. Now, her boyfriend at the time when she died, because she died in her early 30s, no one knows the official story, her boyfriend was a huge whistleblower for Coutts. And I'm sure that she knew stuff that was going on because he blew all different sorts of transactions and things that went on that came out to whistleblow it, and they offed her. So his own sister was offed by the elites, I'm sure, I'm assuming, in her early 30s. And you could look this stuff up again for yourself. Now, the Knights of Malta, on the page that I showed you, has him listed as a member. That's your proof in itself. His sister worked for the auditing of the bank, was offed. Her boyfriend was the whistleblower. When you put these different pieces together, you just know, Ron DeScumbag, there's something going on. My thoughts are Florida, they had this plan, was going to recruit and get people here that all are freedom-loving people that want a new America, Trump supporters. They're getting them all in one place, right? How many people have moved here since the lockdown? So many hundred thousands, if not millions of people have moved to Florida. It's like a trick. It's a bait and switch. So you got this good guy, DeSantis, no masks, it's okay, everything is cool. People run to Florida because they think it's a safe zone. They think everything's going to be good with DeSantis. Now he's running for president, right? Another red flag that you know he's tied in with some society that's not for us. And he's putting out no real information, you know, Ron, about like herbal ways to cure and herbal ways to heal and things like that. You know, this is the rhetoric and the noise that keeps us off of working on ourselves. When you put stock into a savior that's going to come along and create a free state. You know, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, DeSantis is cool. He no mask and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, you got to look at it from the streets, right? I'm street smart. Once something is too good to be true, you know the saying? It probably is. So do your own research. Check out some more information about what I said and learn more about Ron DeScumbag being a Knight of Malta. Check their website. Dig into this stuff because to educate others is so important right now. There's a great awakening happen, but the awakening of what? Real information. We want our brothers and sisters to be educated with the truth so you don't get fooled. There's a lot of false prophets out there. And the end times is what the Bible and many people and talked about as the fake prophets that are going to do a lot of talking, but it doesn't come to a lot of action. We want to take action. We want to build community. We want to build sustainable communities. We're not going in 15-minute cities. That's the way. There's either two ways that are happening right now. The way of 15-minute cities and the way of living self-sustained in community. That's the split. That's the newer timeline split that's happening. It's getting more and more apparent every day. And I'm sure everyone who's listening to this knows what I'm saying. We want to go the way of living sustainable in our community, building new earth. So do your homework, educate yourself. Don't give your power away to a savior. Jonah Bolt out. Have a blessed one.